Our story starts with an 18-year-old named Jack in the vast digital world of social media, where connections are forged instantly and personas are frequently twisted. Like many others his age, Jack discovered entertainment and comfort in the virtual world of Facebook. But for him, the excitement of causing trouble was more important than simply making a connection. Jack was extremely skilled at trolling on Facebook. Hiding behind the anonymity of his screen, he took pleasure in making fun of other people. One fateful evening, he came across a post by Sarah, a past crush, while scrolling through his feed. He emitted a laughing emoji, feeling a little mischievous and nostalgic at the same time. Jack had no idea that his innocuous deed would trigger a series of events that would permanently alter his life. Adam, Sarah's new boyfriend, was offended by Jack's response. Adam, who was jealous and insecure, sent Jack a flurry of angry messages, accusing him of treating Sarah disrespectfully. Jack laughed at it at first, enjoying the mayhem he had caused, but the amusement gave way to uneasiness as the texts became more aggressive and menacing. Adam's words sliced through Jack's digital facade, reminding him that a real person with real feelings was hiding behind every profile image. Jack consented to meet Adam in person against his better judgment, naively believing that a face-to-face discussion would resolve the matter. However, what began as an inept attempt at reconciliation swiftly descended into a violent fight that left both people bleeding and wounded. Jack came to understand the full cost of his actions as he healed his wounds and thought back on what had happened that evening. He had broken the illusion of safety that the digital world had offered by unintentionally bringing the drama into the real world in his search for online pleasure. Section 2: Chaos in the Marketplace. Simultaneously, in a tranquil suburban area on the opposite side of the city, an additional drama was developing, involving an apparently innocuous Facebook marketplace transaction. Emma, a 20-something lady, had been searching the website for a cheap freezer to replace her old one. She looked for days before finding the ideal listing: a little used, immaculate freezer that was priced much below market value. Emma messaged the vendor, setting up a time to pick up the appliance, her excitement palpating. Emma was excited to see where they would meet, but her excitement soon gave way to fear. The whole event had an unsettling quality, like a puzzle with some missing pieces. She shivered when the middle-aged man selling it shook her hand. He had a charming smile on his face. The man's genial exterior gave way to a more sinister underside as they started to load the freezer into Emma's car. Emma felt herself becoming more and more suffocated by the tension in the air as she tried to keep her cool. Emma didn't let out a breath until the transaction was finished and she was back in her car safely. She had been startled by the encounter, and she was still feeling uneasy in the back of her mind. She also couldn't get rid of the impression that she had just about avoided a dangerous situation while she was driving away. Our tale takes place amidst a closely knit family, each member wrestling with their individual problems. As night descended over the bustling city and elongated shadows began to creep across the labyrinth of streets. The story unfolds after a warm and intimate family gathering, where Michael, a devoted husband and caring father to two beautiful children, found himself unexpectedly burdened with the task of escorting his intoxicated aunt, Sylvia, back to her home. Sylvia, a woman known far and wide within the family for her exuberant antics and her free-spirited, vivacious personality, had unfortunately succumbed to the allure of several glasses of wine too many, much to her family's collective dismay. Michael, already fatigued from the evening's events and his responsibilities, sighed heavily with exhaustion, yet dutifully offered to accompany her home, hoping to shield her from further embarrassment in her inebriated state. As they navigated the dimly lit, labyrinthine city streets together, Sylvia's behavior became increasingly erratic, her words becoming less and less articulate, her speech slurred and incoherent. Michael, ever the protective family member, did his best to steady her, guiding her through the maze of streets that were steeped in a jumble of shared family history and memories as they slowly made their way towards the familiarity of home. The magnitude and extent of the chaos that had unfolded that night did not become fully clear until they arrived at Sylvia's residence. Michael was overwhelmed with a surge of dread as he stumbled upon a disconcerting image on his Facebook feed. A photograph of his aunt that seemed to have been captured in the midst of the turmoil, accompanied by an enigmatic message that implored for help. The unsettling image and its cryptic plea sent a shiver down his spine, fueling his anxiety. As they navigated their way through the poorly illuminated, winding streets, Sylvia's behavior took a turn for the worse. She grew increasingly erratic, and her speech became a jumbled, incoherent mess of words, making it difficult for Michael to understand her. Despite his mounting fear, Michael did his best to steady her, guiding her through the labyrinth of familiar sights and sounds that marked their journey home. The full scope of the night's mayhem wasn't apparent until they got to Sylvia's house. Michael was filled with fear as he came across a disturbing image on Facebook, a picture of his aunt that appeared to be taken, along with a mysterious message pleading for assistance. The image stirred a whirlwind of emotions in Michael, leaving him feeling helpless and terrified. His mind raced as he tried to decipher the hidden meaning behind the cryptic message, his worry for his aunt growing with each passing second.